All right, welcome. So you've put in all that hard work, you've honed your skills, and now you're staring down the final challenge of your entire apprenticeship journey. I mean, this is it. This is the culmination of everything you've learned. So in this explainer, we're going to break down the Level 6 Project Controls Professional Endpoint Assessment and really give you a clear, no-nonsense roadmap to success. So the big question on everyone's mind, right? How do you actually become a certified project controls professional? What's that final hurdle you need to clear? Well, it all boils down to one key process. And don't worry, we're going to break it all down piece by piece so you know exactly what's coming. Okay, let's get into it.
Okay, so here's how we're going to tackle this. We've got 5 main sections. First up, we'll explain what this final assessment is all about. Then, we'll talk about passing through the gateway, super important. After that, we'll get into the 2 big challenges, the assignment and the discussion. And to wrap it all up, we'll see how your final grade gets calculated. Simple as that?
All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, your final assessment explained. And listen, this isn't just some other test. Think of it as the final hurdle, the professional benchmark that proves all your hard work was worth it. Okay, first things first, you're going to hear this term a lot, endpoint assessment, or EPA. So what is it? Well, to put it simply, it's a totally impartial assessment that checks if you've really mastered all the essential knowledge, skills, and behaviors. You'll hear those called KSBs. It's basically your chance to stand up and say, yep, I've got this. I'm ready for the job. You know, your whole apprenticeship journey really breaks down into these 3 big phases. You've already done the heavy lifting with the on-program training. The next step is getting through something called the gateway. Once you pass that, it unlocks the final stage, the endpoint assessment itself. So, let's see what's actually in that assessment. So, check this out. Your final grade isn't just one single thing. The EPA is broken into 2 main challenges. You've got a technical work-based assignment and then a professional discussion. For each of those, you can get a fail, a pass, or a distinction. Then those 2 results are combined to give you your overall grade, which can be a fail, pass, merit, or distinction. The big takeaway here? You've got to perform well on both parts to get the top grades. It's a team effort between the 2 challenges. Okay, moving on to Section 2, passing through the gateway. The best way to think about this is like the final checkpoint before the main event. It's that moment where you, your employer, and the assessment organization all give the green light, basically saying, okay, you're ready. You're ready to prove what you can do. So just to give you a feel for the timeline, while the absolute minimum on-program time is 12 months, a typical apprenticeship like this one usually runs for about 42 months before you even get to the gateway. And that makes sense, right? That's the time you spend in the trenches, gathering all the real-world experience you're going to need to draw on for that final assessment. So what does it take to get through this gateway? It's pretty much a straightforward checklist. First, your employer has to sign off on you, confirming you're operating at the right level. You've got to have your Level 2 English and Math sorted, and then you submit 2 really important documents, a basis of assignment, which is basically your project proposal, and your full portfolio of evidence. And let's zoom in on that portfolio for a second. This is super important. It's not about how much you can cram in there, it's all about quality. Think of yourself as a curator, picking out your best work. Typically, you're looking at around 14 solid pieces of evidence, with each one carefully chosen to show off a specific skill or competency. So you might be wondering, what actually counts as evidence? Well, you've got a lot of options. We're talking about things like workplace documents, reports, plans, you name it. Annotated images can be great. Even witness testimonies from colleagues or feedback from your line manager. Anything, really, that gives tangible, solid proof that you know your stuff. Okay, you made it through the gateway. Awesome. Welcome to Section 3 and your first big challenge, the assignment. This is your chance to do a serious deep dive on a real project and really show off your technical skills. Now, the process here is really structured, which is good. It all kicks off with that 500-word proposal, the basis of assignment. You hand it in at the gateway. Once that gets the thumbs up, the clock starts. You've got 12 weeks to write a 6,000-word report. And the grand finale? You'd present your findings to 2 assessors, and then you defend your work in a Q&A. And for that presentation, you've only got 15 minutes. That's it. That's not a lot of time, so you've got to be sharp, you've got to be concise. You need to hit the key points, the background, your main conclusions, and what you'd recommend. No fluff. Then, right after your presentation, get ready for a 45-minute question and answer session. And try to think of it like a real project board review.
Seriously, the assessors aren't there to trip you up. They just want to probe a bit deeper, see how you handle questions, and check the depth of your knowledge. It's your moment to really shine under a little bit of pressure.
And your report needs to hit some key themes. You're going to have to talk about project governance, how the business strategy was applied. You'll cover net carbon zero and sustainability. You'll do a critique of data assurance, basically how good was the data. You'll look at data analytics, and of course, your stakeholder skills. It's a full 360-degree review of a project from a professional standpoint.
All right, challenge 1 is down. Now for the second big one, the discussion. This is different. Think of this as a structured, professional chat where you get to talk about all your experience, and you've got that awesome portfolio you built to back you up. And this is a proper conversation. We're talking 90 minutes long. That length alone tells you they're looking for some real depth here. The assessor is going to guide the conversation for sure, making sure you cover all the key competencies. Okay, listen up, because this is maybe the most important part. Let's be clear about what this is and what it is not. It is a professional, two-way discussion. It's your chance to showcase your experience, and you can totally use your portfolio to back up what you're saying. It is not a memory test. It's not a scary exam where you just spit back facts. It's an opportunity, not an interrogation. Got it? So what's on the table for discussion? Pretty much the whole shebang, the full spectrum of your professional skills. You'll be chatting about things like safe and ethical working, how you handle risk and assumptions, stakeholder management, commercial know-how, and of course the core stuff like estimating, planning, and scheduling. They'll even touch on your leadership and coaching skills. And that brings us to the home stretch, our final section, calculating your final grade. Let's see how your performance on those two big challenges, the assignment and the discussion, come together to give you that final result. Honestly, the math here is super straightforward. As you can see, 2 passes gets you a pass overall. Simple. If you want to merit, you need to get a distinction in one of the challenges and a pass in the other. And for the top prize, a distinction overall, well, you guessed it. You need to nail a distinction in both the assignment and the discussion. So, after all that, why does this matter so much? I mean, beyond just finishing your apprenticeship, this qualification has real-world clout. Passing this standard actually aligns with professional recognition from the Association of Cost Engineers. That's a huge deal. It means you're not just walking away with a grade. You're earning a genuinely respected professional credential. So there you have it. You've got the map, you know the terrain, and most importantly, you've already put in the work. Look, the journey to becoming a certified project controls professional, it's a challenge, for sure, but it is absolutely 100% achievable. Your final challenge is waiting, so the only real question left is, are you ready?